Hey everybody, and welcome to a very special, really exciting episode of Always Bored, Never Boring. The good people over at Goblin King Games are currently gearing up for a new Kickstarter for their wonderful whimsical tabletop skirmish game Moonstone, which is set to go live in October 2023. Fans of the game may already know that this Kickstarter is going to launch a brand new faction, the Shades of Moonreach. Yes, the dead have risen up and Tauber is in trouble. This is a new faction I couldn't be more excited about, so it's a great honour for me that Goblin King Games have given me the opportunity to present to you exclusive, never seen before content for one of our new undead friends, Morag. When King Churnet was released from the Deadlands, he brought with him the spirits of long dead inhabitants of Tauber, and so Morag the Fawn has opened her eyes and she is once more ready for the hunt. You better hope you aren't the prey. Morag is part of a 3-character troupe called the Shady Bunch, and as much as I would love to be able to show you the other characters from that troupe, alas, I cannot. However, Goblin King Games have allocated different characters to a number of their longtime collaborators, so make sure you check out the Moonstone social media channels because you're going to be seeing a lot of these previews over the next few weeks. I'm looking forward to seeing them all. For now, let's take a closer look at Morag, if you can stomach it. I mean, look at those dead eyes and that rigor mortis grin. I have always said that Moonstone has exceptional art, and this is certainly no exception. It's creepy and compelling. The Evil Dead expression, the hair twisted into demonic horns, the tattered clothing, and that unsettling stance, poised in a crouch like something that has just crawled out from under your bed. And this is just really interesting character design. It feels, like so much of Moonstone, new and fresh. I love undead armies, but more often than not you see the same things over and over again. Human skeletons, human mummies and human zombies, probably with a few vampires thrown in for good measure. You don't often get to see an undead fawn. As this is a character for a forthcoming Kickstarter, I don't have a physical print of the miniature for you to check out, but I have the next best thing, 3D renders. Sometimes 3D renders can give a slightly false impression of what the final product will look like due to a loss of detail in the transition from the computer files to the final resin or plastic form, but based on all the previous Moonstone miniatures I have worked with, I am pretty confident Morag is going to look amazing when she finally graces my tabletop. You can see that she is going to have a bit of a scenic element for the base, which I think is going to work really nicely for the pose. She should be a lot of fun to paint. But she has to do more than just look good. She has to be a valuable member of the team. So what does she bring to a troupe, and why should you consider using her in your own team? I've got the most up-to-date version of her character card here. Do bear in mind, these rules are subject to change either before or during the Kickstarter campaign, but we can still get a good idea of what she's all about. First up, she has the keywords Spirit and Fawn, and she is dual faction with both the Leshevolt and Shades icon in the top right corner of the card. And I just have to point out how nicely those two faction icons blend together. Very cool and creepy. Being a Leshevolt spirit, Morag immediately stands out as a character you could potentially team up with the Weirdwood troupe that I reviewed on the channel recently. She works well with Dranya as they are both spirits, and as we will discuss in a moment, she has a way of quickly navigating busy battlefields, which is important when characters like Root start creating the new woodland patches that the tree folk rely on. Oh, and it's worth pointing out, the Leshevolt character Snag can also align with the Shades of Moonreach. With him and Morag, you have the start of a nice little troupe with a haunted wood flavour. Moving on, Morag has a melee value of 3 with a 1-inch range. That's fine, but you don't really want Morag to be in the thick of the fighting anyway. She's much better with her magical abilities, with Arcane 4 and an evade stat of -1. She only has 7 health, but that isn't much of a concern as she has some intriguing ways to avoid damage. She gets 4 energy as standard, which is important as she is going to be falling back on arcane abilities frequently, not just to cause damage, but to effectively move around the battlefield. That's because Morag is slow, which means her jog actions are limited to 2 inches. I mentioned a moment ago that Morag has interesting ways to mitigate incoming damage. The first way is her ability Eclipse. When an enemy targets Morag with an arcane ability, Morag can reveal a green or red 2 from her resist hand before any cards are played to gain the ability Protection, which means until the end of the turn, the first time she takes damage, that damage becomes null. So not only is the damage reduced to 0, but also it cannot be modified. Morag has 2 arcane abilities. We already know she's slow when she jogs, but she doesn't care, because for 2 energy she can shadow walk. When she plays this ability with a red arcane card, she immediately teleports a number of inches equal to twice the value of the card. That's a move of up to 6 inches with no penalties for movement and no risk of becoming engaged with enemies on the way. Yep, she's basically zombie Nightcrawler. On a catastrophe, Morag still teleports up to 6 inches, but the resisting player chooses where she ends up, which could be devastating. Shadow Walk is going to let Morag teleport across the battlefield, grab Moonstones and then get out of dodge quickly. She can bamf into the deepest, thickest woodland, disengage from combat in a blink, traverse difficult terrain or massed groups of enemies, and even carrying Moonstones isn't going to slow her down. Requiring a red card to use the ability means she may not be able to use it consistently, but heck, that's what bluffing's for. Her second arcane ability is frankly vile. It's just a really mean ability that speaks volumes about Morag's character. It's called Hunting Ritual, and it isn't designed to kill anyone, it's designed to hamstring them. It saps them of their health and energy and makes them a wounded, easy target for Morag's allies, and it's particularly effective against large prey. It costs 3 energy and targets an enemy within 8 inches. The high energy cost means quite often you may only get to use it once per turn, but when you do use it, ouch. Firstly, the ability isn't modified by the target's evade stat, so big or small it makes no difference, Morag is going to draw 4 arcane cards. She needs a card with a value of 3 to play the ability without bluffing, but that card can be of any colour. If she pulls it off, the target takes damage equal to half of the health it currently has remaining, rounded up. If you are facing a troll or giant at full strength, that's as many as 6 wounds, which is a massive chunk of damage to apply in one go. It could easily deny the target access to some of its energy, and those terrifying big boys and girls that you feel you have to chip away at with everything you have suddenly seem less intimidating. Felling a troll with only 6 wounds remaining seems much more manageable a task. I think this is a really cool ability. It's really spiteful and vindictive. You can imagine Morag hexing her target, crippling them so that she can then unleash the hounds to tear them to pieces. She is the master of the hunt, and no target is too big for her to take down. Interestingly, her hunting ritual also helps to protect her in melee. Her signature move is on a high guard and it's called Shadow Form. It deals no damage, but her opponent will also deal no damage if they have 4 or fewer wounds remaining. Even the most hard-hitting characters are going to struggle to apply damage to her if they have previously come under her baleful undead gaze. So that's a quick look at Morag, one of the shady bunch that will be appearing in the forthcoming Moonstone Kickstarter campaign. I think she's great, and having seen some of the other artwork for characters that will be joining her, I can tell you that I am so excited about this release. It's going to be a lot of fun, and if you're already a fan of Moonstone, you're going to want to check out this campaign when it goes live in October. To make sure you don't miss a thing, I recommend visiting the Moonstone page and signing up to their newsletter. You will find a link in the video description below. But that's it from me for now, other than to say thank you to Goblin King Games for letting me be the first person to get a glimpse of this unique character and to let me reveal it exclusively on my channel for you. And of course, as always, thank you all for watching. If you like this video, please consider pressing the like button. If you really like this video, please consider subscribing if you don't already do so, and hopefully, I'll see you all again very soon. Bye bye everyone. Bye bye.